Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to the stream. Today, I will be doing a stream in English, and I'll wait a little bit before I fully introduce myself, which I do every stream. How is everybody? Give me one sec. All right, I am back. I had to clear out my PRF board. Okay, we are in order. So, good morning. My name's Ana Carolina, or Ana Carolina. I am from Brazil. I've been streaming on for Pixologic twice a month for almost 4 years now, which is kind of insane for me to think about. Um, I have been doing this particular project lately, which has been to do quick speed sculpts of cryptids using my own interpretation. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Hello, hello. All right. Everything seems to be working just fine. We're good. Alrighty. So the cryptid we're going to be doing today is called the Banshee. So let's go ahead and together we're going to put together a little PureRef board. But from what I can gather, a Banshee is just simply... Hey, RG Waters. A Banshee is just simply a fairy from Irish folklore that does a horrible screech when somebody's about to die, like an announcement. There are lots of ways to interpret the appearance of a fairy, but I want to do undead style today. So I'm gonna go ahead and save some undead images. And for today, we're going to be just using Google, the simple Google today. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm going to keep the PureRef board secret for the simple reason that I can't really confirm who the artists were that created each one of these images. Therefore, like I don't want to have somebody else's artwork on my stream if I can't properly credit them. So I'm just gonna quickly gather some Banshee references like I want to. I'm thinking just like straight up like skull face would be good. This is cute. Seems like it's from a game. Hi Lord Luigi, how are you today? Alright, I think I'm good. That's enough to inspire. I'll keep Google open here on the side just in case I need more reference. Gotta move my PureRef board over here. Alright. This is just an example of an old, during the stream bust, basically. So let's go ahead and get started with the with just a normal sphere. I'm gonna make Polymesh 3D so that I can actually start sculpting on it. And you might, oh, look at Mass Effect Banshee, let's see. Ah, it's too sci-fi. Oh, but she has a kind of creepy face. I'm really glad I didn't look it up on the stream. Alright, so you might wonder why I've chosen to start from a sphere. I just think that it gives me more flexibility, and also like when you're doing speed sculpts and studying, sometimes it's cool to be forced to make your own thing, just to optimize, you know, kind of like the practice aspect of it. Where do you work? Juan, I work at the Ringling College of Art and Design. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a college here in the United States, in Florida, that focuses on art and design. I teach game developments and VR developments right now. Everything from the actual programming development design to arts. Dark Knight, hello, Anna. Greetings from Pakistan. I hope you are doing okay. I am doing okay. How are you, Dark Knight? Gonna kind of just start thinning out the face as intended here. Trying to keep in mind what I'm trying to make. You know, it's going to be highly skull-like. I want to blend, you know, kind of, you know what a good example would be? Is the wraiths from The Witcher would be a pretty good way to go about this too. I'll probably put some of those in my vision board in a little bit. We're going to be using Dynamesh today, so don't worry about all those ugly little bits. Start sketching out some landmarks, which I like to do. Is it really the Wrigley Museum? It's the same city. What are you sculpting today? Today, Dark Knight, I am sculpting a Banshee from Irish folklore. Sorry guys, I'm trying to turn down the sound here. So I'm very excited for this particular project. I've been struggling with ideas for what else to make for my Cryptid collection, and the Banshee is just perfect. So I'm gonna use Dynamesh today. The way I like to use Dynamesh is that I like to roll it down to the lowest possible resolution and try it from there. If it's too low, I'll try a higher one. I'll undo and try a higher one. If it's not too low, like now, I think it's perfect to keep going. I'm just kind of shaping with my move brush the kind of like the primary forms of the shoulders here and the bust. It can be a little tough to shape things when it's got like a huge cut on it, you know? I think we're gonna go for like the extremely enlarged like jaw, you know? Currently just on a Fierce 3D with Dynamesh on. Yeah, basically. Look, hey Anna, how are you doing? I'm doing good today. Look, how are you? I'm kind of gonna do the internal nose of the skull. Intense zygomatic arch right here, cheekbone. Intensify. And grab the move brush and kind of fit in the maxilla, which is the top part of the jaw that connects to the top teeth, right? And making everything a little bit more extreme. The whole face needs to be lower on the head, my opinion. And then fit in some eye sockets. Little by little, I like to make my work very soft and subtle at the start. I like to prize cleanliness, I suppose. I'm good too, haven't been able to in a while. I'm glad you're here. But I don't want her to be like a straight up skeleton either. I want like her to be like a skeleton held together, you know, with flesh. Gonna kind of work. I want her to be like still slightly beautiful too, which is probably gonna be tough to do. Like a fine balance, right? Gonna kind of start shaping the skull ever so slightly. How's everybody doing today? Anybody got any cool projects going on? What is your tablet model? I use a Wacom Intuos art model. I don't think they sell them anymore. Just at the time, it was one of the most basic ones they had for context. So like, if you were to go buy a Wacom and just look for like the cheapest tablet they have, basically, it'd be the equivalent right now. Hi, Chris Laser. Marie, working in a Slaughterbot mini for a friend. Alex is trying to sculpt a snake this morning. Oh gosh, snakes are cool. Stylized Spinosaurus, putting its one leg on a crashed airplane. Junior created from Jurassic Park 3. I love that. Hello, Nat. May I ask you if every Banshee are female? Carrie Drago, I actually haven't done enough research to be able to tell you. But if you want, you could Google it and let me know, because I'm curious. Like, I think so. Like, I've never heard of a male Banshee, but you gotta have an open mind. So, the way, my method for sculpting is, I just really try to go as far as I possibly can with the lowest subdivision possible. If that makes sense. So like, I try to avoid going to a higher subdivision, unless it's like, honestly, sometimes I do it because I want to, but it's like a really solid technique or a strategy. Just avoid altogether going to a high subdivision for a little while. That will just guarantee that you're not getting like any of those accidental lumpies in your model, which are so common and sometimes almost feel inevitable, but they are. Banshee is a female spirit in Irish folklore who heralds the death of a family member. I don't know. Would you want to be warned ahead of time? Like, I'm not sure if I would. I guess some people like to plan. Like, it doesn't seem like they warn you so that you can have time to improve the problem, you know what I mean? Seems like it's just one of those like, oh, okay, so-and-so's dying today, great. I'll clear my schedule. I'm just kind of using my clay buildup to like gently add and remove some volumes to already starting adding the hint of a little bit of anatomy in here. Doing the quick little blockout. You can get pretty far with just a little move brush and clay buildup. It's one of the things I always try to like really get into people's brains is that like when you're doing ZBrush, you surprisingly don't need that many tools, right? Who here can back that up? Like, I've seen a lot of tutorials and courses and videos, and I've done it myself, and I know that deep down, like, everybody's using the same, like, 5, 10 brushes, you know? Sometimes the brush selection changes between artists, but it's still, like, unless you're, like, so the only person I think of that uses, like, every brush is, like, Michael Pavlovich and Pablander, because they're badass like that. But otherwise, you know, people just use a couple of brushes. Trying to figure out how to make a curve to bend at a precise angle. I've never tried to make a precise angle. Normally, like, I do my best to draw on the curve I want, and then if it doesn't work, I use a different brush to um, update the shape. It's so cool. 32 dimension, you did half of the work done already. Yeah, that's my technique, and like I think it's super useful. I gotta tell you, like I run a workshop every month, FYI. We're gonna open up subscriptions in 4 days. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that one of the points I try to give you is that like you don't need high poly to get like sculpting, you know, and you can get a lot done, and it's a lot easier if you embrace these lower resolution steps. Gonna go ahead and I think insert some ears. I think banshees have ears. Everything indicates that banshees have ears. Yeah, every picture I have here has ears on it. So the way I like to do ears is I like to insert here. Like, oh, insert primitive. You know what? Actually, I might wait a little. Yeah, but it's better when you understand other advanced options. Oh no, you gotta understand them. But like when it comes down to it, that's not maybe I made myself misunderstood. Uh, when it really comes down to it, like it's way more common to use a few brushes, but that doesn't mean you should stop there. So let's think through this jaw. So right now she doesn't look very spooky, and I do want a little spookiness. So I'm gonna like use my usual chaotic method to open up a jaw, which is to just kind of rotate it from over here where the hinge would be. I think that's good, right? Like, that's enough. If you guys ever see me like looking over here to like over this direction to look at my model, it's because I have OBS open and it makes my model look really small. And I found over the years of streaming that weirdly seeing your model a little smaller is really helpful. Omnis, hi. I'm a student of Madeleine Spencer and I use Clay Toothbrush. Very few people use it, but it's so good if you get the hang of it. I never use it, but like maybe I should give it a shot. Go ahead and continue the process here of creepily pulling in the mouth. Ooh. Great. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the snake hook and just... This is why I say my process for this is always a little chaotic. Because it is. A little hard on the side of the jaw there. Sure, hi, how are you? Maybe I'm not looking to cut the subtool. That might be an easy solution, though I've been trying. Hello, Kutahaji. Hello, professional peeps. Prashish, hi. Uh, Srini Vasong. Hey, friends, save your file. I do the same, almost like a thumbnail in Photoshop gives you better perspective and composition. It really does, right? It's actually a great technique. Thanks! Then I'm just gonna kind of deepen in all of these different crevices of the mouth. I'm gonna, earlier I thought about adding the ears and I changed my mind, and let me explain why. The reason I changed my mind was because I realized that I'm kind of too low on Dynamesh resolution right now to be adding. Oh no, I got rid of like a part of the skull here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh gosh. How do I put this? Looking a little too cheerful. Maybe it was better before. If I were to Dynamesh on some ears right now, they would kind of blob into the skull a little too much. So I'm gonna wait until a slightly higher resolution instead. I'm sure all those of you who have used Dynamesh in the past know exactly what I'm talking about. It's gonna be like probably one of the challenges is to make the skull not look so cheerful. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like I have a natural tendency to think that skulls look like they're smiling. Even like animal skulls, you know, it doesn't have to be a person's skull. Just all the skulls, they're always smiling everywhere, you know? You know what I'm talking about. Whisker King. I think the deformation tools are the most useful ZBrush options ZBrush has. If used correctly, they do the majority of the work for you without ever having to use a brush. Combined with masking gradients and brushes, it vastly improves sculpting time. I really like using the deformation tools myself as well. I don't use it instead of the sculpting, probably because like I enjoy the sculpting process, but like it's something to consider, that's for sure. For me, like. We gotta work on this posture, right? Like, she needs to be a little more spooky. And I think a little bit of a hunch might do it. Well, it won't do it as in, like, be the only thing, but... But posture of a sculpt is important to consider, I think. Oh shoot, I forgot to tell my Discord people that I was live. Let me go ahead and do that. Glad I remembered. So when the time comes you increase the Dynamesh, this is the thing I struggle the most with. I get stuck on a loop to be stuck in low resolution for so long. Alright, so I think I might have read the same question before and I got caught up with a different question and I forgot to answer it. So if you were the person who asked the question originally, I'm sorry and I'm glad you asked it again. Alright, so my rule of thumb for switching from Dynamesh to subdivision, alright, is I use Dynamesh to block out and shape the big shapes. Once I have all of the elements of my sculpt added, so if I'm doing a human body, once all the fingers are added, once the ears added, the mouth hole is added, everything's added for the main body, like and it's mostly blocked out in the forms that I want with the mostly the proportions I want, then I'll switch from Dynamesh to subdivision sculpting. I wouldn't do it before because then, like, let's say for example I make one finger and I haven't copy and pasted it for all 10 fingers yet. If I switch to subdivision, I won't be able to properly merge those fingers in without doing like a bunch of extra steps. So I wait until I'm done blocking to go to subdivision. As far as going up resolutions, my rule of thumb, especially for my workshoppers, is very simple. All right, and it actually requires quite a bit of discipline, which is only go up a subdivision or only go up in Dynamesh resolution, whatever, go up in polygon counts once you are satisfied that you feel like you have squeezed all of the detail you could out of the lower resolution. This is not a universal rule. If you're more advanced, for example, you don't need to worry about that because you have control. But this rule will literally change your sculpting game because it will stop you from making those lumpy looking models that are so very common amongst all of us who are ever beginners, right? So try to squeeze as much shape, as much detail out of every single resolution before you move on to the next one. It will pay off, trust me. Can you post your workshop link so we can all check? Of course! So, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit too while I'm here. So basically, my workshop is I do two things. I do a mentorship and a workshop. And I restart admissions at the beginning of every month. So on the 1st of July, new admissions will begin. All right. So if you're interested in participating, just keep up to date with that. I'll put the link right here in chats. I put it on Twitch, but it should show up everywhere else too. So basically, the workshop itself, we spend a month on a project together. I'll do demos, Q&A, critiques, and also a party, but that one is separate. And we work on a project from scratch, from literally a sphere, all the way to final render over the course of the 4 weeks of workshop. The focus is 3D sculpting, digital sculpting. So we focus on the fundamentals of digital sculpting. Hierarchy of form, proportion, observation, anatomy, likeness, everything that is important to be a powerful sculptor, basically. For the mentorship, it's a personalized one-on-one experience where basically I'll be able to evaluate like all of everybody's like pain points, weaknesses, and strengths, and then we can work together to keep you accountable. Whatever you need, basically. Like, it can be career advice, career talks, help you get a raise, help you get a new job. It can be how to set up your portfolio. It can be straight up, I want to learn ZBrush. You know, some people use me just for learning ZBrush, or other things like that. So the link is right there. It's in the Patreon. Right now, we're not open. There might be 2 spots open right now, but don't get them because we're almost at the end of the month. I need to actually close those spots for now. He is medium codon. I actually medium like from like Oculus medium. Pure one, and I hope I can get back to personal projects soon. Yeah, do it. I hope so too. Personal projects, they're very enriching, right? But there's something to be said about a professional product or two. Sculpting is great for organic creatures, but you really need to have an in-depth understanding of panel lines and combining subtools for complicated hard surface models. This is where the deformation tools shine. Trying to sculpt hard surface is very consuming. Oh my god. Yeah, but if you use polygroups and deformation tools, you can go really quickly. Outlier, not regularly, no. It sounds a little ironic, but like I am a VR developer and I have been for a lot of years. I personally try to not overdo my exposure to VR at all costs. You know, I feel fine in VR. I have my VR legs, as we call it, which is like I'm used to being in VR. I don't get sick, but I still don't like exposing myself too much yet. You know, probably because I have so much throughout my career. Like, you know, I've spent years and years on and off the headset, and in and out, and in and out, and in and out. So I'm like, you know, I try to avoid extraneous activities in there. I wouldn't say you can do it in VR faster. And the thing about that particular statement is that it totally depends, literally, on 1,000 factors besides tools. Like, some tools might be like a little faster than others, but it's all about whether the person can use them or not. Some people are going to be faster than anybody else, but in the slowest tools.
Tried to tell you just how much you mean to me, but I can't get it out. So I wrote it down and put it on your pillow.
Okay. So, I'm gonna grab a little extra reference real fast. Hey Jefferson. The similar problem to using sticks for sculpting Rami. What do you mean? Many senior artists say they don't use smooth brush much because they use a trim brush instead. What are your thoughts? Dark Knight, I mean, it's kind of tough to have thoughts on somebody else's workflow, right? Like, if it works for them, then that's great. I personally use the smooth brush, but I turn it down really low because otherwise it gets rid of your work a little too easily. You know, I don't use the trim instead. I think it's fine. Oh, you know what I do want though? I kind of want that nice wet clay matte cap that I use sometimes. Go ahead and pull it up. This one is from Philips Normals, I think. Yes, Philips Normal. This. I want to use this. It's more fun sometimes. Dashi, hi, how are you? Welcome. Alright, I'm gonna go up a little in my resolution. What? I can actually lower the traps. I think it went too extreme. Start adding a little details. Nothing crazy yet though. Gotta work on that angry look though. And then start adding in like kind of like the room for the eyelids, I think. Like really sunken in there. And new tech or extra info doesn't mean it increases productivity. It's a gratifying experience, but not ideal. It doesn't mean it's ideal, right? Like, it could be for somebody, but it's definitely not for everybody. I know we're missing, like, kind of like half the entire top palette, and I apologize in advance for that one. I just have a very particular look I want to go for, and I guess the palette isn't part of it. I shall pay for my sins, but not today. A Carolina, comecei a seguir seu trabalho recentemente e inspirou em vários artistas brasileiros para começar a modelar. Você é um desses? Um deles? Oh, João, obrigada. W Rex, hello. Gotta add more tension to the jaw as it hangs quite a bit more. And make sure to save. I think I'm ready to add in the ears now. So I'm going to go ahead and insert primitives. Insert some sphere. And scale it. Turn on LSim. Local symmetry, so that my ear doesn't move everywhere as I try to update it. This is a little bit of a cleaner method than like trying to pull the ear out from the mesh itself, in my opinion. It's a better crease too. More separation between it and the head as well. Haven't nailed the shape yet. Is there a reason why your focal shift is 75 on your damn standard brush? That is such a good question, Sculpo, and weirdly observant. It was already set up like that before I started today, so I guess I didn't mention it. That is a tip I picked up from GeoNacPill. All of the credits go to him. If you don't know who he is, what are you even doing? So basically, a long time ago, I was watching one of his videos on YouTube, and he mentioned that using the the Damien standard with a high focal shift and low intensity for blocking out anatomy, like separating out your muscle groups, your forms, and things like that is way more efficient than using the basic version of Damien standard. And I tried it out and I did like it very much. So, yeah, that's where that's from. Do you guys think I should add more busts? Like, really sell the. Yeah. Yeah. I know I asked, but I've made up my mind. My mind's made up, you can't stop me. Make it more feminine, like with like a lower cut, like of a dress or something like this. Still too cheerful though. ZBrush VR. Oh my gosh, so many things about random stuff. Okay. My teacher Daniel say that you did not answer to combine your available times during interview. Can you send return to him? Where did their professor Daniel message me? Tell him to message me again. Ideally on Discord, so let me put my Discord link here for you to give to him. So that goes for everybody here. If you want to join my Discord, you're more than welcome to. It's an awesome free online server where hundreds of 3D artists from all over the industry hang out, network, have a good time. It's where we share tips and tricks, we share tutorials, resources. You can show off your work there. You can get feedback on your work, and you can give feedback as well. It's kind of awesome. You should join. Adoro seus trabalhos. Obrigado, Carlos. Nice tip. Thank you, Evgeny. Hi, how are you today? So at this point, like I should have already been thinking a little bit more about personality, but I like to call my initial phases of working my adding the room to work phases. Sometimes I simply need the space to work, you know? But now that I feel a little bit more comfortable in the space that I've created to work in the first place, I'm gonna start trying to add a little bit of that personality that I've been looking for, but haven't really implemented yet. So, she's going to be a banshee. She's gonna be a little creepy, so we're gonna work on that a little. So I'm gonna start with the basics. A little bit of evil brow doesn't hurt. Make the smile a little bit more extreme, maybe. Maybe if I push this area in here, it won't look as much smiley too. But it's still so smiley. I'll have to keep brainstorming on that. I think something like if I were to hang skin, like actually do lips maybe. Dark Knight, wow, the new game standard settings you told us worked amazingly. This is good. Thank you, and Gio Nefgil. Oh yeah, all of credits go to him, definitely. And I feel comfortable telling his technique because it was on YouTube. Otherwise, I would. I'm gonna go ahead and pinch kind of like the area here to make it thinner, more streamlined. Streamline that mouth. But I can't go too thin either, because when I Dynamesh, I might cause a hole. So every once in a while, like, I'll try to thin something out, and then I'll just try it out, you know? Dynamesh it real fast, and if it doesn't work, just undo it. Morning, Anna. Hope all is going well. The sculpt looks really interesting. Thank you. Grinchy. Happy skull. Rodrigo. You flatter me. Thank you. Kirio Zabana. I have no idea what that means. Kerwin, hey Anna, new to your stream. How do you color your meshes after sculpting? So if you stick around, you'll get to see me do it today. Basically, I just use, if I'm doing something like this, just a sculpt or speed sculpt or something like that, it's a poly paint. I just poly paint. Yeah, I just do some basic poly painting a lot of the time. Very efficient, you know? I think I'm gonna need like lip action. Let me see. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, you know? I like to use the same idea I do in my work as I do in my sculpting, which is like, I like to do some like rapid prototyping. What does that mean? When I have an idea, and that idea is a little maybe risky or something, you know, it doesn't really matter. I like to do it fast and crappy a little so that I can just see if it's even worth pursuing, as opposed to like actually doing it for real and then giving up later and having wasted like 40 minutes or however long. So I'm thinking about shaping of the mouth and adding kind of like skin draped over like this. Maybe even like with a hole there. I think it kind of, I mean, like, it won't look like this in the final. What do you guys think? I think it kind of works. Recently, I've been using new ambient occlusion feature to aid my poly paint. It's much faster than the old masking AO. Right. But I went and Dynameshed that. Digging it. You know if you can export polypaint in other programs without plugins? Oh, yes, you can. So what you need, if you're not going to use plugins, what you need to do when you're exporting polypaint is you actually need to unwrap your model, which is totally easy to do here in ZBrush. I don't have the time today to do a demo on that, but you can always just Google it, like use a UV master. Right here, UV master. You can use this to unwrap your thing. Then you can just go to think texture map, and you can do like new from poly paints, and then it will basically make a texture map from your poly paints, and then you can just apply that in a different program. So now that this is no longer mouth, this is now like lips. I'm gonna have to create an inner sitting for the basically the bones of the mandible and maxilla and stuff. We're making progress. Oh no, the ear. I didn't pay attention to it when I dynamashed. Do you use display tablet or normal tablet? I use a normal tablet, Dark Knight. I'm a fan of the normal tablet's simplicity and price, but specifically the simplicity. Like, it's better for my posture personally, better for my wrists because I have carpal tunnel, which actually started when I started using a display tablet. Bought a display tablet, you know, super excited about it. Started using it, got carpal tunnel, and it's like, you know, it's permanent. Even if you stop using the thing. So I'm a big believer in the simple tablet. Worry about the ear later. And the shade strips for the Dynamesh purposes later. What if you have no lower sub these? You don't need lower sub these to unwrap. I mean, like, if it's super high poly, it might not work. So, like, you could make some lower sub these really fast. Maybe similar to that exposed flesh from Harvey Dent in Dark Knights. Le Raton. Hello, how are you? Do you have a preferred method for creating realistic hair? So I'm a game developer and VR developer, and you know, my methods for creating hair have always been optimized hair cards and things like that. If I had had more opportunity in the past to do like not real time stuff, I would have more preferred methods. I have a feeling I'd really like XGen or maybe like Houdini, you know. But for me, it's all been hair cards. So I love making hair cards, though. I actually make them in ZBrush, and well, I make the texture in ZBrush, like the actual fiber mesh. I bake it in Marmoset. Then I make hair clumps in my, and then I place them in ZBrush. So it's like a whole thing that I do. And when ZBrush, I place them with deformers. You don't know how to make lower subs. Also, you could just... Okay, I don't have time to demo the whole thing, but again, just duplicate the model, zero mesh it, and then project, create, then after it's zero meshed, like, at a low subdivision, divide it up, like, 3-4 times, and then for each one of the subdivisions, starting from the lowest to the highest, you just hit project, with the original visible, and it'll actually project the details from the original. Habla español. No. How to avoid stitching of thin surfaces? Or do you usually use back surface mask? The stitching? What does the stitching mean? Maybe I just don't know that term in ZBrush. Can't say for sure. Are you talking about like when it turns into a hole? Because that happens. It might even happen with this model today. Not yet. Soon. Are you using the new Marmoset tool bag? So no, I haven't downloaded it yet. But I should. Add a little extra tension because like earlier I had modeled this as if it was like all skull, but now I disagree with my past self. You know, if that happens. So far, it's a very masculine piece. We'll work on that. We'll work on it, but adding lips might help. Just generally speaking. Just generally, not even if the masculine problem, but lips are good. Gonna do a little inflate up here. You can see we've got a lot of collapsing right here, which was fine earlier, but now it's not anymore. Time flies, people change. And I pinch things and then inflate them. Hard to make an anime character in a ZBrush. Very difficult question to answer because like everybody's scale of what is hard is different, you know what I mean? So is hello. I didn't realize you could project back polypaint details, so yeah you can. If you want to become ZBrush nerd, watch Pablo streams. That's an awesome mesh. Thank you, Ben. 3D art, hi. Asset AC design, oi, como tudo bem? What character are you making? I am making a Banshee, a folkloric creature from Irish folklore that screams in the night to warn you that somebody you know will die. Qual a boa de hoje? Um sábado normal, comum, fazendo uma live. Divertindo. Without any reference? So I do have some references here, but I'm not really following them. Just more of inspiration. Like, for example, earlier I wasn't sure if Banshees had ears, so I checked the reference. Raf Grissetti is the only artist I've seen who broke all the boundaries. He starts blocking with 300 plus Dynamesh and never zero meshed it. It was for render. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta put things into context, right? He does that every day. He has massive control. And those pieces are just for, like, quick renders. Certainly not how he makes characters for games. Probably. My sculpts feel a bit simple and they don't feel like popping out. Do you have any suggestions on making stronger expression? So what you're missing is dynamic expression kind of thing. I think honestly noticing that you have like a lack in your artwork is like a huge first step to improving. So like I'm already like happy that you can see that. Um, to make expressions pop out, in my opinion, you gotta actually study expressions a little bit more. So you should look into facts. I think it's facial. God, I used to know. I've done presentations on this. Um, facial activation database. Okay, no, never mind. Let's try to study the actual face expressions, body expressions. Do some figurative sculpting studies and some figurative drawing too, if you could, like with more pose, more energy, and things like that would be a great system. Facial anatomy coding system. I think so. It's definitely coding system. Here, so she can hear the names to scream out. Como que eu fiz pra praticar meu inglês? Eu tive sorte de poder ter imersão, né? Mas eu sempre assisto vídeos em inglês e coisas assim, em filmes em inglês, ajudou muito. Is Marmoset better at baking than Substance Painter? Marmoset is more flexible at baking than Substance Painter. You can do real-time editing of your cage and all that. Oi, Ana, acompanhando mais uma aula, quer dizer, live. Oi, Davey. Do you have any advice for making realistic character? Oh, that is so broad. Let's see. Sometimes, okay, so like, I have some like unconventional advice. um, so sometimes realism is as much about what you don't put in as about you put in, as it is about what you put in. Like we're always worried about like pushing details, more pores, more muscle, more definition, more this, more that. And sometimes, realism is about being subtle, not being extreme. Like, you don't need to push all of this stuff. Sometimes that's not what it's about. And you can actually break realism easily by adding too much and obsessing too much. So that's an advice, I suppose. Okay, and she has a lot of torn clothes. Are you gonna make it too? I'm not sure yet. I hope you will make hair. Yes, I will make hair. JK, hello. Kari Drago, could you name some games, companies, etc. that you worked for and we may have saw or played? I don't think I've done anything that was publicly available. So I guess I never got to introduce myself and my career properly. But I'm a VR developer and I have a lot of years of experience. I have almost 20 shipped games, but all of those were private. So, for example, the USA Air Force would hire us to make them some training, or MasterCard, or a bunch of other companies and corporations and things would hire us for themselves for their own use. So you wouldn't know anything I made, unfortunately. Yeah. Like I've worked for museums and things like that too, but yeah, you wouldn't know. Aaron Blaze channel, best for learning expression or gesture in general art. He was Disney art animator for 21 years. Amazing person. Oh my god, yeah. Disney, like I used to read this one book from the Disney, like I think it's like the main rules of like character design from Disney, but it had a lot of posing in it. It was a great book. 10 out of 10. It was looking a little thin, I think, right? And add top and bottom piece, I guess. I'd come in really fast and like just create that arch. And then I'm going to extract. Oh. I know it looks crazy right now, but we can fix. God, I'm so thirsty. I've been drinking tea, but I'm pretty sure I'm dehydrated anyway. Maybe tea makes you more dehydrated. This would be an awkward time to find out. I think I'll ZBrush this. 2 seconds. ZBrush. Sometimes I have to say the thing I want to do a few times because otherwise I will forget. It's been a while not see you streaming. That's funny, like I've been streaming the same amount as always. Every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central on my own channel, Anna Carolina Art. You guys should go follow me. And then twice a month here. If you had to design jewelry in ZBrush, what would you design? So I like jewelry that's like sculptural, surprisingly. Unsurprisingly, I guess. So basically, I would do like beetles and bees and skulls and things like that. Yeah, you'd have to project, Raven, you'd have to project by subtool. I know, Dark Knight. We all saw this coming. Like, as soon as they bought that program, it was over for us. Ethereum developer did for social training facilities, or percentage of industry you speculate is unseen to the public. Oh, I don't think I could even begin to estimate that. Like, I've never wondered that myself, if I'm gonna be honest. Probably a good amount, especially if you consider that like a lot of games that go into production never get finished. Moment of silence. They get canceled or something like that, you know, like they don't get released. It happens. And pushing in some teeth. Olá, bom dia, pacto com demônio. Lembro de uma live que você estava esculpindo uma abóbora de Halloween. Aprendi muitas coisas que me ajudaram bastante no meu workflow. Muito obrigada. Oh, de nada. I'm gonna mirror this, but it's upside down. I'm just gonna use the same one for the bottom jaw. Shape back here is a little insane. Okay. It'll be hidden by the tongue. Hey, and how you doing? Miss you, happy to see you. I'm doing good, how are you? Amanhã tem live no stream do seu canal? Sim, vai ter às 5 da tarde aqui, que eu acho que é às 7 do Brasil. Let me put my links up for you, because I just got some questions in Portuguese about my links. I stream in English on my own personal Twitch channel every single Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. The link is right there. I put a bunch of links up. The first one is the Twitch, so you can come watch. If the game is in production and gets cancelled, the artists still get paid? Well, the right answer is yes, but like the realistic answer is that normally if you get paid for hours that you work or as a salary, yeah, you got paid anyway, it doesn't matter. But if you were like in an indie studio or something and you had some sort of agreement with the company that like you'd work for free or for a low price for a while and then get recompensed after the game shipped, and then the game doesn't ship, I imagine you don't get paid, which would be unfortunate, but then you just can't get into that kind of situation, you know. But normally, like, you get paid for the work you're doing, not the ship of the game, you know what I mean? Like, you get paid a salary or per hour. But I know it's very, like, it's heartbreaking for developers when they put all this time and love and effort into a game and then it gets cancelled. Você já pensou em entrar no mercado de colecionáveis? Não muito, Dave. Não é bem minha paixão, digamos assim. Going up a little. And smoothing out a little bit of the bumpy areas, the areas that have like brush strokes all over them. Still. Sempre almoçando na minha live e eu aqui querendo almoçar. I don't know what shape the eyeballs. I guess that's future me's problem. I like the idea of tiny eyeballs, and that's why I'm doing this way. Trust me. Trust me, bro. Pretty dumb question. Animated Jesus. Never dumb. If anything, I might not be able to answer this one. I used this place curve brush, and now the last curve I placed is still there. Like a striped black and white line, and I can still move it and alter it, even though you use 10 other brushes afterward. And you wait till I'm done with it. Oh, I can answer that question, actually. So let me just take any brush that has those kinds of lines. So what you do is, let's say you add in a bunch of stuff, right? And you start sculpting with something else, you'll totally still have that black and white line. So what you need to do is you need to go back to the brush that you were using when you put the curve down, and all you do is you gently tap on the model one time, and that gets rid of that line. So you just gotta make sure that you are using the same curve brush, and you just give it a little tap. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the eyeballs. That might be a little big. That is fine. Be a little smaller. Okay, so then I'm going to, before I even do anything else, I'm going to split to one mask point so that the eyes are separate. Gonna pinch this area a little. Clean that up. I love using the pinch brush on my eyelids on top and bottom like this to just kind of really thin them out and make them a little neater. It helps. It does help a lot. Adding a little bit more detail here and there as we go. Slightly fleshing it out, you know what I mean? I want to keep this part here like really nice and flat. Not too much detail. Some zero meshing is gonna do this nose some wonders. You know, I was never able to get into No Man's Sky. I thought it was going to be the perfect game for me. Maybe I should have tried it after... No, actually I only tried it after the updates anyway. The NFT big bucks for personal projects appeal to you at all on any auctions on the horizon? So I'm gonna be 100% honest. It did appeal to me at the beginning when I first heard about it. My friend Emma actually like reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, have you heard of this new thing?" You know, like, and then like 1 week later, it was all the craze everywhere. But it really came down to like I thought about it, I read about it, I looked into it. It really just came down to the pros and cons, and I have a specific set of, I guess, personal ethics guidelines that I like to follow. And although the potential profit was very seductive, one might say, it personally wasn't for me as far as my code, let's say. And then I never did it. It died there. That was it. I know a lot of artists who did end up just losing a bunch of money on it, which is unfortunate, but it was never a guaranteed profit. You know what I mean? Like, sure, some people have such a huge following anyway, and they have like big names that know them, that follow them. You know, like yeah, those people can sell their artwork guaranteed practically, but the average Joe isn't guaranteed anything. I even had some people like, you know, invite me to the platforms and try to buy my work, but it just wasn't for me. I've made peace with it. Like, you know, I'm going to be totally fine and make money in ways that work for me. How much of your ZBrush skills is due to hard work and how much is due to talent? I have never been asked this question before. You know, this is the thing. What is talent? Talent is very extremely hard to define. It's different for everybody. As I grew up in my family, I'm the only artist in my entire family, right? And I was the only artist at my school and stuff like that. Everybody said that I had talent and talent and talent and talent, like ever since I was like 3 years old, right? And sure, okay, compared to everybody else, yes, I was much better. Like nobody in my family, like I could, if you put a gun to their head and told them to draw a dog, it wouldn't work out. You know what I mean? So that's what we're talking about as far as challenge. So yeah, in that case, yes, I do have talent in comparison. But that talent, in my opinion, what talent is an applied interest over a long period of time. So ever since I was little baby, right? I was interested in expressing myself through visual means. All right? So what I liked is I liked to pick up pencils, crayons, whatever, and express myself. I liked to draw pets I want to have in the future. I liked to draw fairies and horses and dragons and lions and bears, whatever. Okay, I liked it. So I've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing it every day. Between the ages of maybe like 2, 3, and 20, I drew on paper or on Photoshop every day. So for 17 years, I drew every single day, right? It was fun. I wouldn't have considered it hard work at the time, but like, did my talent naturally make me good at drawing, and then eventually that evolved into other things, right? Or did my applied interest over time make me good at drawing? Then, once I started ZBrush and I started 3D modeling and I got into the game industry, I already had all those years of artistic experience already, right? And this, I know a lot of you guys relate to this. Some people go into ZBrush without any experience, and that's totally fine, by the way. Like, you don't need anything. You just have to be willing to learn and practice. But I already had all that experience, so it came in extremely handy. Because this is something I say. So, as a streamer, one of the most common, or a ZBrush streamer anyway, one of the most common questions you're gonna get is, do I need to know how to draw to be a ZBrush artist, right? And what it comes down to for me personally is that sculpting and drawing have a lot of overlapping skills, because drawing in itself is literally picking up a pen and drawing on paper. Like, it takes no skills, but drawing well takes knowing anatomy, knowing contrast, volume, lighting, you know, so much stuff. And sculpting requires a lot of that same knowledge. So when you practice drawing, you're actually getting better at sculpting too, because all of the other skills that aren't the actual picking up a pen and putting it on paper, all those skills are being exercised. Observation, perspective, composition, storytelling. There's like thousands of different art fundamentals that all get exercised at the same time. So the more you do it, the better you get. It's like anything else, right? But truly, like when it comes to talent, I was born with a propensity to want to do this, right? I don't do this because I have to. I've always been attracted to it heavily. I don't know what it is. My older brother says that when I was born, I sucked out everybody else's art talent and absorbed it. you know, so that's my philosophy on this from my own personal point of view and my personal anecdote. Like talent is very hard to define. There are a lot of artists out there that will straight up get offended if you claim that they're talented because it kind of, in their opinion, and I would agree in my opinion, it discounts all the hard work you do. Right? Like, yeah, sure. Oh, okay, God gave me this gift, but what about like the 40 years I spent working on it? Does that not count? That kind of thing. Chris, hello. Do you know Philippe Ferro, traditional sculpt from France? He sculpts with planes. He has the ability to visualize planes with everything. It's very helpful for ZBrush artists too. I teach sculpting from planes to my mentees. It's nice. Raven, interesting. Thank you for that. You're more than the average Joe. Thank you. Work ethic can beat talent any day. Talent is applied interest over time. I like that. Yeah, that's my definition for talent. I've thought about this a lot. Drawing is just sculpting from one angle. Pode dar sua referência sobre estudos de curso? Infelizmente, os únicos cursos que eu fiz... o melhor curso que eu fiz foi o do Gio Nakpel. O resto eu aprendi no YouTube ou através de streams. Dark Knight, this is interesting. What I do is watch 2D artists draw. I have been doing for 3 months. I'm getting so good at proportions in Studio and ZBrush, but I don't draw, I just watch. Rami, I relate to this a lot. Fundamental art skills present with all serious pro artists, right? Never met a pro artist that was taught to be artistically creative in a professional level by an art teacher. Hey, I don't get the second part. Fundamental skills present with all the serious pro artists, yes. I mean, like, the art fundamentals are like the bricks that you use to build the castle of your career, in my opinion. Everybody gotta study them. Like, Picasso, when he was 13, he used to do these, like, massive realistic paintings with beautiful realistic lighting and soft blending and all of that, And then later, once he understood the rules, he could more efficiently break them. And that's something I try to tell my students. I'm like, listen to me because these are the fundamentals, but also like break the rules once you understand them, but you gotta understand them first. And it's like a weird phenomenon to explain. But yeah. That one I have to give a little bit more thought to because like I don't know why. I'm not totally sure why your artwork turns out so much better once you understand the rules and break them. Than if you just go right off the bat breaking rules and like messing stuff up, I couldn't tell you right now with words, but I can picture it in my brain exactly what it looks like. I never met a pro artist that was taught to be artistically creative to a professional level by an art teacher. Yeah, that part, I don't know what that means. Like, I guess an art teacher can't teach you how to be creative. They can, how do you say it? They can encourage you to be creative, right? They can give you creative assignments. They can help you, but it's like, how does one teach you to be creative, right? Like, to a degree, I feel like creativity is like something that is almost untouchable from anything that you can teach. So like, even down to how people think, the way I think and the way there's 180 people here from what I can tell if this thing is updated. Not one single of us thinks in the same way as the other. We all have different ways to be creative. And did you know that we don't even see things in our brain the same way as some other people? Some people don't see any images in their brain. Some people see hyper-realistic Marvel movies in their brain. Some people only see like little pencil drawings in their brain. And there's the whole spectrum there. Some people smell smells in their brain. Some people taste tastes in their brain. Like, how are you gonna teach somebody how to use their brains to come up with ideas if their brain is a foreign entity, a little alien or something that is not relative to you at all? I think where creativity comes from is when you find yourself inspired. I think a lot of it comes from inspiration, at least from my point of view. But then again, I just said that all our brains are different. So the way I feel creative is when I see somebody else making art, or I see something from nature, or I see a concept or story, right? And I take little pieces. This is how my brain works. I take little pieces from here and little pieces from there. I like this concept. I like this color. I like this thing. And then I bash it all together into a creative thing. But there are people out there that are completely thinking outside the box, or completely abstract, or they're thinking about hardcore spiritual concepts that who knows. They're worried about aliens in the White House, things like that. Like, and that's completely different the way I think. You know, why are we relying on teachers to freaking change the way we think? No, the teachers, what they're gonna do is they're gonna create an environment. What you do is, and I should know, I haven't mentioned this today, but I'm actually a college professor now. What a teacher can do is they will give you advice to the best of their ability. They will create an environment where you can apply whatever your style of thinking, creativity is, to like a very like laser focused result, if that makes sense. And you can't rely on them for everything. In fact, like I tell my students, like, don't rely on me for everything. Jeez, you know, if you rely on me for everything, your sculpts are gonna look the same as mine. If you rely on me for everything, your code is gonna look the same as mine. And like, do you want to be an exact copy of somebody? Or do you want to be your own person? Go out, Google things, right? Like watch tutorials, use critical thinking, question things. I love questioning things, and I like it when my students question me, even though sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable. Like, I used to really have a problem in college where like the college I went to was not that good, first of all. But second, second of all, you know, the teachers, the directors, they would have such black and white thinking, right? Black and white thinking. They'd be like, if you do this, you're never getting a job. To get a job, you need to do this, like exact description. It came down, guys, to details. So you could only have a business card set up in one way, right? With like 2 colors, your initials on it, and then your email, whatever. And if you try to put a graphic on it, if you try to put a picture from your portfolio on it, like they would literally shame you and tell you that you're never getting a job, because when they see your business card that has a picture of your portfolio piece on it, then you're not gonna get it. And I'm here like, I know I have great acting. Thank you, Dark Knight. I don't like that kind of thinking because the world is too broad, too chaotic. I love chaos, and I'm the perfect planet for chaos right now, I guess. The world's too chaotic, too crazy, too insane. Everybody's so different. So, like, when we think of our differences, we think of, like, some of us are boys, some of us are girls, some of us are, you know, not. Some of us are black, some of us are white. But no, it goes deeper than that. We all have so many differences that we couldn't even quantify them, right? Why are we putting everybody into the same box? Right? Am I going too deep into this? Anyway, that was my rant. Don't rely on your teachers for everything. Your teachers are there to guide you, answer your questions, show you the way, trace a path for you so that you don't have to go out and try like a million different things before you find a path, because that's like the internet way. Like, let's say you're trying to sculpt, right? I'm like stopping my sculpt, but I gotta talk about this. Like, let's say you want to learn how to sculpt and you don't have a teacher, okay? Lots of you guys are like that. In fact, to a degree, I was like that. Then you can go on the internet and then you're going to see 1,000 different tutorials. And all of them have 1,000 different ways to sculpt, right? Get started, let's say. So now you're confused and you're like bouncing between all of these, learning and relearning and unlearning things. Because one tutorial says you should always use these spheres and the other tutorial says you should never use these spheres. Now you're confused. What a teacher will do is they will, using their experience, just put you on a track that will get you from point A to point B efficiently and quickly. But that doesn't necessarily like mean that that is the only way to do things, right? Like when I'm talking to my students, I require them like, why don't you go find a tutorial about that? Like, why don't you? And they're like, but I don't know if it's the best way to do it. And I'm like, try it, you know, and then come back and I'll let you know. But like, you can't rely on somebody for that stuff, because who's gonna do it for you when you are working in the industry, right? Like, who's gonna show you the way necessarily? Like, if it wasn't for my badass Googling skills, I would be jobless right now, right? Like, I was able to train myself into being a technical artist with zero technical art training. I got a technical artist job and I had to do it. And I had no idea how. I barely knew anything. So what happened was they would give me these tasks, right? And I got very lucky because it was at the perfect pace for me. Because I would blend tasks I knew how to do with tasks I didn't know how to do. They would give me all these tasks that I had no idea what the heck they were about. And I would figure it out. It didn't matter. I would Google. If I had to, I would Google for hours all night at home on my own. And I would figure it out, right? And over time, that's knowledge compounds, and that's when things start becoming magical. That's when a real experience starts to amount. Once that experience starts to compound, you start becoming stronger. Now you can combine new solutions with the solutions you already had in your brain. So like you can combine new things and old things and all of that stuff, and you start becoming very powerful. But imagine if I thought that I had to get somebody to tell me how. It would never happen. I would have... You can facilitate creativity, but not force it. You can bring a horse to water, but not make it drink. Oh, preach. Nice to hear what floats your boat. Love your explanation, different people's perspective. Great way to teach that. Wow, thank you. Kids these days think skills are like items you acquire in a game. Oh, kinda. Like you have to grind for those items that you acquire in a game. You have to grind for the skills you have. I kind of like it. That comparison, I gotta tell you. I know it was supposed to be a criticism, but I'm like, it works for me. My mind's eye is blind, and I figured it out 8 years into a sculpting career. Andres, I would be so curious to hear how that has impacted you. Because I know some artists that have that, and the way I've seen them work through it is that they just use a lot more pen and paper than most of us. Like, they just work through things visually outside of their brain, if that makes sense. Like through visualization on paper. Well, how do you do it? My old parent mentality, where they think because their sons went to the best schools, therefore they will get the best jobs automatically, feeling entitled. You're a better teacher than some I've known. Anna, this is great. Got you on the subject you feel strongly about, big time. This happened to me. I bought Flip Normal's beginner course when I was a beginner, but it was Madeline Spencer method, which was for me. It synced in me. I am better in clay tubes compared to clay buildup. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Like, you gotta explore your options a little. But it can be a little overwhelming to explore too many options too soon, right? I always think in a very structured approach, simple at the beginning is the best for ZBrush, in my opinion. Very basic, and then from there, the horizon expands. This is completely true. When I got started in ZBrush, I was so confused by the sheer amount of tutorials. I bought a course from a professional who did 3D sculpting for years, and it made my life so much easier to start. Besides ZBrush, do you like another tool to punch holes? Not a tool. I always just use the I just like select it out and then delete it and fill holes. Not ideal, but it works. Let's go ahead and block out some hair, so at the very least, before we're done with today's stream. I mean, I still got an hour 20 minutes, but at the very least, she starts looking a little bit more Banshee-like. So I don't know what kind of haircut we're going for today, but we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna best way to do this. I've done it so many different ways, but like just block out. Okay, I think I have a hairstyle in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and append a sphere. Another thing that I find that's so yeah, because of my mentorship and my teaching experience now, but especially my mentorship, here's a phenomenon that I'm sure a lot of you guys will highly relate with, which is not knowing exactly how to do something, or like maybe knowing multiple ways to do something can have a immobilizing effect. Like, do you ever have so many options of how to do something and you're not sure about which one's the best way, and then you kind of freeze up a little? Like, you can't figure out how to do it, what's the best way, most efficient way, most correct, perfect way, and then you get stuck. That used to happen to me a lot, actually. Relatable. So what happened was, I felt that way for years and years, especially with my tech art, right? But then, eventually, I realized that at the end of the day, let's say you put a model on your portfolio, who's to say which method you used? If your model looks great, doesn't matter if you use clay tubes or clay buildup, like, who's even gonna ask, you know? So do whatever feels right. And then, like, after I had that realization, the kind of, like, thought that should have come naturally, but honestly, sometimes I'm just, like, very delayed, and I have a feeling a lot of people are, not just me. You know, I was much more free to actually do what I wanted and explore, and, like, so what if it's not the best fucking method ever? Like, the end result works. We're done. And one of the places where I had the biggest issues with that particular way of thinking, like the problem, you know what it was? It was game ready hair. Go out into the internet, and if you don't find a bazillion ways to make game ready hair, I don't even want to talk. But it's everywhere, right? There's thousands of ways to make game ready hair. Oh, here's XGen plugins. Here's Houdini, here's ZBrush, here's this, that. You can bake them in here and there. Oh, Blender. Oh my god. Like, it's so much. And to me, you know, it was always, like, stressful. I didn't know, like, what the best way to make hair was, and it made me make less hair, if that makes sense. Like, it blocked me. I let it block me. Let's go ahead and get Dynamesh going on this one. Are you making a skeleton? I'm making a Banshee from Irish folklore. Mullets. Is there a good way to shatter a mesh in ZBrush? I don't remember which brush I've used in the past was, but like one of these trim brushes actually just cuts the mesh but leaves it together, so you could use it a bunch of time and then move the brushes separately. I can't tell you exactly which one it is though. My way to deal with mind blindness is sketching a lot, clay or digital, something that is really flexible and lets me see and construct, and makes a lot of tuning and different versions to look at them. Are you using a mouse or some tools? I'm using a drawing tablet, a very simple Wacom tablet. She looks so pretty with the hair. I know, she's a stunner. Oh heck, it's a girl still, looking more and more like my father-in-law. She like I mentioned at the beginning, and I still haven't really quite gotten through it. But like, she's very masculine right now, and that's like to a degree that's fine. I mean, like the skull, you know what I mean? But like, um, but I'm slowly working on that. Push this. Spiral brush is gonna be my savior. Again, this is just a little hair blockout. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish today. I have an hour and 10 minutes left, but this probably because I took a break to yell. I might not finish. We'll see. I'll do what I can. Should have hollowed out the sphere ahead of time. Are you from Brazil? Yes. I need geometry via clay brushes works in sub D model, but stretching it using move doesn't work good with sub D, right? Yes, it doesn't. Basically, like anything too extreme with the geometry is gonna hurt in sub D. Guys, make sure to follow me on social media. It's the best way to keep up to date with my artwork, my schedule, my content, my tutorials, and things like that. You'll also be able to see when my mentorship opens back up, which will be on the 1st of July, which is my dad's birthday. I'm currently in this point, sculpted a carrot and retopologized it in a week, and I have to spend another 2 trying different game-ready hair methods. It's tough, man. Like, I couldn't think of a single best method, you know what I mean? Speak Behi. Not quite a language, but yes. Do you have to mask when cutting, or do you just draw the cutscene? Cutting? I can't say. Like, I feel like it's a very specific scenario that I'm not quite privy to. Canyon standards create a little bit of the most mildest of flows to the hair. Bye, Chloe. Thank you for stopping by. Alright, so we're getting somewhere. Getting somewhere. Getting somewhere. Banshee with style. Ignacio, hola. I wonder if like a drooping tongue would be out of character for this. Please, thick skin. I haven't played too much, but it seems useful for broken zombie skin. I don't think I know what thick skin is. Can you tell me more? Maybe I will. Make this cheekbone a little more extreme. She'd look lovely in a cocktail dress. How'd you know that's exactly what I'm gonna put her in? Dixon is a pretty neat feature, hard to explain to you, see a demo. No, I could like I'm like a couple of minutes away from like just turning her into that Iron Maiden one. I had a weird fascination with Iron Maiden when I was like 9 years old. Tool right between nanomesh and layers lets you add or remove material with a fixed depth. Oh, kind of like extract. Carlos, boa tarde a todos. Ana, quando desligo o Dynamesh, às vezes me sinto num loop. Desculpa a pergunta, noob. Por acaso eu respondi essa pergunta antes em inglês, mas eu respondo de novo. No meu caso, a minha regra pessoal para isso é simples. Eu uso o Dynamesh para fazer blocagem. Quando a minha blocagem está completa, ou seja, todas as partes do objeto, do corpo, etc. Por exemplo, se for um ser humano, todos os dedos e da mão e do pé, a boca tá aberta já, todas as partes já estão lá, a orelha tá lá e tal. E eu tô com os formatos basicamente perto do que eu quero, eu mudo pra Subdivision. É importante não mudar antes disso, porque se você, por exemplo, mudar pra Subdivisions antes de todas as partes estiverem presentes, você não vai conseguir dar um merge direito nelas, né, sem Dynamesh. Então, por isso que eu recomendo esperar até esse momento. Hair favela in Rio is a very dangerous place in Brazil. One last question and I won't bug you anymore. That's okay. I'm here. Like, I'm specifically making myself available to answer questions. Like, in fact, I love getting them and I hate not being able to answer one of them. Like, I don't know everything. So, like, every once in a while I don't know how to answer a question and I feel bad. So please keep them coming if you want to. Can you please take the last 10 or 5 minutes to your stream talking about how your mentorship works, how it's structured, and the difference about each client? Of course, Kari. I will. Can I close Eddie now? Who's Eddie? Oh, the Iron Maid. Do kind of like a real-time extract. Is that Portuguese? Yes, I speak Portuguese. I like doing a gentle gray on my eyeballs. That's too pink, too green, I mean. Okay, over top. Add a little tongue. Big thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate your support. For those of you guys who don't know, part of why I've been doing so many cryptids lately is because I've been making a TikTok series. You guys should check it out. Every time I talk about my TikTok, it's like a weird point of like contention with myself because I have this TikTok where I make these like really cheesy videos. I'm gonna be honest, they're cheesy of all these cryptids, right? So I'll basically sculpt them, like record myself doing it. It's getting recorded right now. And just do like a speed run kind of thing, like the best moments on TikTok, and I'll record myself over it talking about the whatever monster I made, right? With like a little scary music. It's only like 15 seconds per video. And then what was it? Shoot. And then it ended up getting big. Like big, like bigger than I would ever think anything I ever made would get. So like millions and millions of views and stuff like that, right? So now I'm living this life where I'm like, I love making cryptids, so I'm more than happy to do so, but it's a little like funky, you know, like to know that there are videos of myself out there going, the chupacabra is a cryptid. Yeah, stay tuned. There will be a Banshee soon. What is that icon on the cursor? Dark Knight, that is a GPU issue. Don't worry, I'm getting my GPU upgraded soon. Honestly, it's not even a ZBrush thing. It's just OBS having trouble recording ZBrush, and it comes out as a little artifact like that. I think you could easily transition that sculpt into the Crypt Keeper too. Thanks for sharing your pipeline. I forgot how powerful Dynamesh tool is. I've been addicted to dynamic brushes. I'm downloading TikTok right now. Oh my god, yes. I have like literal nightmares that my students at school will find my TikTok. Okay, maybe not literal nightmares, but you know what I mean. Right, I think I'm ready for ZBrush. So I'm gonna go to solo. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. This is my method for switching from Dynamesh to ZBrush. So those of you who were asking about that, make sure to pay up attention. And it's a little outdated, I think, but it works very well. So basically, I like to define where some of my most important loops are gonna go. just for sculpting purposes. This is not for like game resolution stuff, you know? This is some of the most important ones. I want to make sure that I'm getting some loops around the mouth. Oh no. Alright. And from here, I'm gonna try out a few different ZBrush meshes, I guess. Normally I just keep it at 5K. Is this your regular YouTube slot? Works out well for my zone. Like Arnie, I will be back. So yeah, I do this every 2 Saturdays. Every other Saturday. RTX. I have a GTX right now. Are you teaching in the game art department? Yes, I teach in the game art department. Oh no. Oh. Nothing we can't smooth. That is nothing we can't smooth right there. Whatever, the lips are good enough. No, actually, there's a little something right here. But just for the sake of the fact that I have less than an hour left, I'm going to run with it. So then, I can hide the other tools. I don't even know if this is a necessary step, but I do it for superstition. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll turn off the solo mode, and I'm gonna make sure that the low poly one is selected. I'm gonna go to project, and I'm gonna say project all. And basically what that's gonna do, it's gonna project all the details and the poly paint, if I have poly paint, onto the low poly, the one I have selected. So I'm gonna actually make a few new subdivisions, like 2 or 3. Then I'm going to go to each subdivision, starting from the lowest ones up, and I'm going to project. One more, project. And that will basically make my new zero meshed piece the exact same as my Dynamesh one. If I were to like flip back and forth, almost the same. In fact, it might be too close, and like I might have gone too high, and I probably don't even need to. So let me see here. Yeah. Figure it out. If I want to delete the higher one, I will. I still get it with my brand spanking RTX. I think Shane found a solution to that OBS cursor issue, something about doing a window capture rather than a screen capture. A little oddity, I do remember being shared that, and I think I forgot to do it. Nice and clean. Hi from Malaysia, hi! This upcoming July, I'm actually going to stream a little bit less than I normally do because I'm going to be traveling. So I think I'm going to take that time to like rebrand my ZBrush streams. And as part of that, I should go ahead and fix the problem. Fix my cursor problem. Number one priority of my rebrand. I think I'm no longer gonna be sculpting VR and positivity. That doesn't feel like something I do anymore, right? Like I gotta switch. If you guys have any ideas for me, let me know. I was thinking about maybe like embracing the cryptids and just being the person who makes cryptids all the time. If I'm still live on Facebook, every once in a while I gotta check, you know, because Facebook is fickle. There she is. Andres, oh yeah, first time meeting you. What VR content do you do? Great question. So I am a VR developer with quite a few years of experience. I've been part of in some way almost 20 VR games and experiences so far. Um, Lately one AR experience. Um, so what I did was I worked at a company that did a lot of like contracting work for other companies that needed VR. So I've worked for the Air Force, Solvay Chemicals, MasterCard, Stanley Security. I honestly don't remember everything I did at this point. Oh, now that's my new profile picture right there. And a bunch of other companies. And the whole time, I was a technical artist or lead technical artist, which might come as a surprise to a lot of people because I sculpt a lot. But professionally, I've never been a sculptor besides freelancing, and I've always been a technical artist. I've done freelancing sculpting all the time, but normally I'm just a tech artist. What does technical artist mean? Optimization for engine and HW? I always use HW to say homework. What does HW mean for you? So yes. So the role of technical artist is not difficult to explain, but troublesome because it can mean so many different things in so many different places. There could be multiple job openings for technical artists, and they could all be completely different requirements. The technical artists blend the world of a fine artist, and by fine artist I mean like maybe like a 3D model or some sculptor, game artist, whatever, and the world of a programmer. So we do a lot of the tasks that fit somewhere in between. We can be, for example, some technical artists are just riggers. Some technical artists are create tools for other artists, like plugins and things like that to make the art go faster for everybody else. We optimize time very much. We optimize time and workflows. Like it's a big thing for technical artists. But not every technical artist. A lot of technical artists do shaders and things like that, advanced shaders. One of my specialties was optimization, like you mentioned. I've gotten to the point where I feel like I could optimize anything without ever touching like 3D software. Nice, giving me a little grief. Some technical artists, so forth. There's so much you can do actually. Some people only do like documentation and workflow design and things like that. Like my job was for a long time all of those things. And for anatomy studies, is a crochet the best way? No, it's not. Actually, it's just one way, which can be used in a tool in a world of like many ways. I don't recommend just doing crochets because crochets don't look natural. Crochets are more to break down muscles and your understanding of bone, muscle, tendons, and things like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look like a real living, breathing human, right? And I always think that the point of anatomy is to create natural looking, living, breathing looking characters. So just écorché is not good enough, in my opinion. I would also follow it up with studies of like from photographs, things like that. Okay, looks better. Perfect, but better. Oh, hardware. Do you UV unwrap in ZBrush? I once take my model in Substance Painter, but it's not unwrapping. Yes. It depends. Honestly, normally I unwrap by hand, but like if I just was doing like a quick little thing, um, I would totally do it. And on ZBrush, I just normally use the UV master. But if it's not unwrapping, the only time I've ever had that happen was because it was too high poly, and it was like taking too much power, I guess, to do so. You know. Sometimes things being too high poly is a problem, so. Your sculpting's awesome. Thank you, Peter. That's nice of you. Lucas, tudo bem? What is my profession right now, Tuan? So I have a lot of years as technical artist, but right now I'm teaching at a college. I am teacher, professor, I guess is the, I think professor is the word you use when it's college. But every time I say it, it feels a little weird. Um, so, yes, that is what I do for now. I also do freelancing. And I'm about to start my second company. I'm also a mentor on the internets for all of you guys who wish to have one-on-one mentoring with me for your careers. More spots open on July 1st. Mark it down in your calendars if you're interested. Okay, let's use a little trim dynamic here. I think you get a little bit like that bone-like structure, you know? How do you turn on the brush cursor? So you might be talking about the graphic issue that I'm having right now that makes my brush cursor look all crazy. How to create snakeskin? Kateria, I have like 5 different ways to do that, and I don't have time, unfortunately, to demo them. But just as a pro tip, this is a real quick pro tip. Oops. So somewhere in here, there's like a brush. So if you go to Lightbox and you go to brushes, there is a brushes just for scales. FYI, makes your life easy. Easy peasy, almost too easy. How long has it been so far? 2 hours and 20 minutes. But I did stop to yell at one point. Dynamesh with Sculptures Pro. I was using Dynamesh and now I'm using Subdivisions. Não, hoje em inglês, Marcos. When did I start learning ZBrush? I started learning ZBrush back in college, like 2015. GNX, I don't know the answer to your question, I'm sorry. Que da hora ter uma artista brasileira aqui, parabéns. Obrigada, Marcos. Retopple by hand scares me. I was thinking of buying Topogun. Oh, it shouldn't scare you. It's a little intimidating at first because you don't necessarily know the whole process, you know. It's like a little puzzle, and it's actually a really fun opportunity to like turn your art brain off and start thinking a little differently, you know? It's very refreshing, you'll find. Probably. What's to say? What software do you use to retopple? What do you recommend? Lee, I used to use Topogun and I loved it. Then for a while they stopped updating and I got convinced to switch to Maya, so I did. It's fine. The problem with Maya is that it gets really laggy when you retop, and I think that's really annoying. So now that they're back to updating Topogun, I might just switch back. Conversation following check. Thank you, Marcos. Your top is satisfying. Eu sou o Scott, obrigado. I like Quadro and Maya. Yeah, it gets so laggy though, like after a while. Let's see, you can do the same thing. Is it necessary to become professional in drawing to become professional in sculpting character like you? It's fun. It's fascinating that you would ask that. So we had a whole conversation about this earlier, but I'll give you the recap. And music. Okay. So basically, the recap is that sculpting and drawing have a lot of skills in common because drawing and sculpting aren't really just blanket skills. They use not optimization, observation, perspective, anatomy, proportion, all these other art fundamentals. So when you practice drawing, you're actually also practicing all those fundamentals. The better you are at those fundamentals, the better you can apply them elsewhere. The better you are at drawing people, you'll probably be better at sculpting people too, and vice versa. Is it a prerequisite? No. You can learn all those fundamentals while sculpting. You don't need to draw. But, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that drawing is not a prerequisite, but knowing the art fundamentals helps, and it goes hand in hand. So it's not really a prerequisite, but you gotta learn those. So if you're sculpting, you're learning those. Or you should be learning those. Você acha que uma pessoa sozinha consegue chegar longe estudando modelagem 3D, até mesmo conseguir freelance? Scott, eu não acho, eu sei que é possível, claro. Eu conheço milhões de pessoas que que fizeram isso, então, obviamente é possível. Mike, I think my reset is totally fine. Remy, the thing is that like there are thousands of ways to fix the lag in Maya during quad draw, but the problem is that we shouldn't have to do 1,000 workarounds to be able to properly retop. Wastes time. Because like when I get really advanced in my retopology, like I have to delete history and do stuff like that, like the GPU thing, all the time. And time is money. Mekis, thank you. Remy, it doesn't matter if I stress or not. You need a lot of mesh that you can reduce my lag in Maya. Sculpting seems to be easier for the blind-minded, not having to deal with light, perspective, and colors. A lifesaver. Blind-minded. Is that something you came up with, or is that actually what they call that? And also, like, I'd be curious to explore more of, like, I imagine there's probably pros and cons to each thinking method, right? Like, I wonder what the blind-minded special power is. Obrigada, sempre gostei muito da área e nunca tive oportunidade. E hoje estou consumindo horrores sobre isso. Way too even. This reminds me of my Kelpie. I think it's like the same thing, but a woman, actually, now that I think of it. So things I need to do. I mean, I still have half an hour, but like things I need to do is like add more tension to the mouth, add more intention to the eyes. You know, find a way to make them more expressive without being like too cheesy about it too. Maybe sad is the way to go. O maior problema até então é entender as divisões da mesh pra não ter na frente. Pra ter ficado pesado ou algo do tipo. Se você voltar na live, eu falei, eu acho que 2 vezes já qual o meu método pra isso, caso você esteja curioso. Ou curiosa. What do you guys think about sad? The scream face. I thought it was dramatic. I'm not against it. Making the scream even more dramatic, you know. It's so hard to say, even the zombies are melting. But I'm not sure about the eyebrows still. Now she looks like she's just angry at you. You know what? We're gonna go back to before, like angry but neutral. Neutral angry. I think lower eyelid posing is what it needs. Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would describe as a power is the fact that I have to make images into words and concepts to be able to work, so it's useful for verbalizing and explaining shapes. That's awesome. That is a superpower. Like, it is so tough to verbalize things sometimes, for me specifically. Because, like, I am on the other side of the spectrum. I don't have, like, super Marvel cinematic imagination, although I can get there. Actually, maybe I am. I don't know. But I think so much in visuals, colors, shapes, explosions, whatever. Like, I am so immersed in the visual thinking that it's hard for me to verbalize, because how do I tell somebody some weird visual connection that I've made? And this was especially difficult for technical art side, because I know how to do all the things technical that I used to do, but I knew them in a visual way. So when it came to actually explaining to like the engineers what the heck I was doing, I'm like, pictures, colors, no, connections, melting pictures of Maya in my brain. Tough, right? Maybe I'll just steal the tongue from here. Let's save some time. No, let's make a new tongue. I don't know how I'm gonna pose this tongue. A little bit of transparent. Oh my gosh. A little bit of transparency does not hurt anybody. Oh no, no symmetry. Gosh. Let's start. I don't know if I should do like a hanging out tongue, like I like to do my undead tongues. Oh, my undead tongues. I like. I don't think this is. The sorrowful face fits her purpose. Oh, I'm glad you think so. That makes me feel better about the sorrowful face. Her new brows make her look vulnerable. How to make object center to the world without unifying it? Or is that not how ZBrush works? I don't know. I always end up unifying it or like moving it or mirroring it. Ah, she's a real ghost in ZBrush. Eu gosto de ver processo de criação, é tipo muito aprendizado. Eu sei, nesse caso eu também gosto de assistir. Her tongue, it really is my father-in-law. They're gonna be the teeth at the bottom here. Você acha eu no Brasil modelar de 3D algo que deve ser investido ou procurar empresas de fora? Essa é outra pergunta que é difícil pra mim responder porque eu não tenho muita experiência no Brasil. Eu sei que muitos artistas vivem disso no Brasil e se dão bem, né? Vários saem pra cá ou pra algum outro lugar, mas vários ficam. Então com certeza é possível, eu só não sei bem assim o cenário completo. Então, se alguém aqui souber melhor, me fala. Fala pra gente, a gente conversa sobre isso. Desmond, your question, it's actually the way my cursor looks is just a little glitch in the GPU through the recording. So it doesn't actually look like that. Just a little glitch. And it's not ZBrush, it's OBS, the software I use to stream. O nome do está trabalhar pra fora está muito mais rentável. Porque se você viesse pra cá e ganhasse em dólar, o dólar até que não iria tão longe. Mas se você tá trabalhando no Brasil, ganhar em dólar e gastar em real. Enfim. You guys hear snoring? That's my cat. He's like right next to me, making all sorts of weird noises. cat snores so cute. He's loud. Honestly, like, I love the dramatic movements with this piece, though. Like, I'm doing it as, like, kind of a joke, but, like, there's a degree of, like, seriousness in it, too. I like that, like the sheen. Yeah, looks great. Thank you, Rami. I'm glad you approve. I guess you can save out variants as layers. Absolutely. In fact, that's what I always recommend people do. But today we're not. Eu tô com perspectiva. Ah, eu tava com antes, agora tô sem. Where's my cat? Right here. You're the boss, bro. Thank you, Raven. Let's give her a tiny, quick little poly paints. Because I had promised somebody that I would. I'm not even sure if they're still here. Gonna be completely honest, I don't know. But let's do it. Actually, like, neon green looks fantastic, and we should never look away from it. Let's go ahead and poly paint this guy. So go ahead and change the hair color just for now. It's like a, I want to do like a kind of a muted, closer to looking like a video or a character. And real fast, just kind of fill object with each color that I want to do. So just simple white for now for the teeth. Color. Okay, so let's think this through for a sec, shall we? That's her life. Lower eyelid change and the fact that it's still covering part of the iris makes her look so livid. Thank you. I like it too. I think it worked. I like to see what you do. So I'm not somebody who usually goes for bright colors, so I'm feeling very weird about this. I think that there's something here though. Kind of like take some off. Ugh. Yeah, too much. I like making the area around the eyes dark. I always do. I don't know what it is. It feeds me, gives me life, so just go with it. My poly paint method is very simple. Just I like, normally I do I build from dark to light, but today I'm breaking my patterns, breaking my own patterns because I chose a very bright color. It's too bright though. We're gonna fix that in a sec. I thought I had it in me to be bold with this neon green, but I don't think so. Less is more. It's okay. You guys gotta trust me. You've been along for this ride this whole time. Thankfully, ZBrush has that nice little new feature, right? The adjust poly paint. We can do it. And it kind of turned it very intense. I was looking for it. It's a cool feature. Like paint Paris the Pixologic for this. I know, right? Especially the masking feature go along with it. Super nice. Helps my life out. And then press C to copy color and place it somewhere else. You hear that? Cat snore? A little neon for me. Very World of Warcraft palette. I don't mean to interrupt, a quick question. Is it better to play paint first and then do the high frequency detailing, or the other way around? Esteban, actually, I don't think it matters. No, actually, never mind. I changed my mind. I think it would be better to do the high detail first, because you can use some cool masking features to improve your poly paint based on like pores and things like that. I'm making a zombie. I'm making a Banshee. Basically a screaming zombie. I'm gonna be honest with me. I don't use a shed load of alphas, no. Couldn't say I do. Uh, Testing some stuff out. Rapid prototyping like I always do, right? That's gonna be cool. Veins over the top of the eye. So, like that. That's gonna be cool. I think I should add that. Crypt Keeper's wife. Gotcha. Details first for the masking options, then polypaint. Thank you, Anna. No problem, Esteban. Although, like, you know, I don't mind blending timings when I'm sculpting. You know, like you see right now, I'm not even done sculpting and I'm polypainting. You know, and there's a reason for that. And just like, don't feel too restrained in your options. That's a good idea. Just a little piece of advice. I see the film from the mask movie. It's painful. I figured I might as well be a little bold today, because why not? This is something you guys need to know about my particular art style, is that I tend to be very light-handed and not very bold with my artwork. It's the natural way I do things. It's always been that way. So I think like moving past that a little sometimes to play with more extravagant shapes, forms, colors, and things like that can be very beneficial. And if you are the opposite, I'd say it's even more beneficial. If you're heavy-handed, I would recommend practicing the art of subtlety. Sometimes, you know, it goes both ways. Presumably, you can layer polypaint variants and later blend if needed. So, layering and polypainting can be a little tricky. You can create some issues. So, I would definitely try it out first before spending too much time on it. But yeah, you could totally do that as needed. Does she leak water when she drinks? Not if she uses a nice straw. I don't know if she's a drinker though, because I feel like drinking's a little beyond her at this point. What kind of color hair should we go for? Maybe white, like nice white ghostly hair. It like gets whiter as you go. No, I kind of like the darkness. What do you guys think? I like the darkness. Darkness is my friend. Oh. Where's the darkness? Darkness? Brighter. Yeah, darkness kind of like frames the face better. Unless I change the material to allow it to be light, you know? I agreed. I find my heavy-handedness is also an anxiety thing. The more mentally relaxing to force myself to physically relax. We trust your taste. I like the contrast of the black. And hello, guys. Hi, Sedgehammer. How are you? I like it brighter. I'll keep exploring. It's quickly becoming the stuff of nightmares for sure. Awesome. Thank you, Esteban. I like that you think that. Can't wait to break symmetry. Breaking symmetry is where it's at. I gotta tell you, like once we can get like the jaw to like be twisted. Maybe darker edges for framing with lighter spots make it look dirty and messy. That could be a possibility. That looked cool for a second. The mouth onto the side. What are you talking about? I think she needed a hood. You guys getting the hood vibe? I get the hood vibe. Let's try a hood. I'm gonna pin the sphere. I have 5 minutes left. Let's do it. Sphere time. Okay. I'm gonna kind of like shape the sphere into hood-like shape. Oh no. First symmetry, huh? First order of events. This is what all hoods should look like. Okay, so from here, I'm going to there was an option. Then go ahead and bring that into its own poly group. I'm just winking it at this point. What am I looking for? You guys know which button is the one that allows me to smooth out the polygroup edge? I'm blanking out. I literally had just done this like last week. If it doesn't work out tonight, I'll do it later, but actually he's slowly getting promoted to Azrael. Geometry pens. Oh, thank you. It's the Polish Red Groups. I appreciate it. Alright, then I'm gonna delete hidden. And then we're gonna go to dynamic subdivision, turn that on. Gonna turn down the smooth and turn on that thickness. Shape it. Do our best to shape it. Might have cut it a little awkwardly. It's huge bias, but works just to see like if I even like good enough. White paint. What do you guys think about the hood? Hood is a nice touch. Groovy. Alright, friends. It is now 2 p.m. So let's start wrapping up. I had been asked earlier to talk about my mentorship, and I will gladly do so. So, for context, I run a mentorship and workshop service that restarts at the beginning of every month, basically. So if you want to sign up, you can sign up on the 1st of July. For the one-on-one mentorship, you get one-on-one time with me in a totally personalized service where we go over what you're trying to accomplish with your career, with your portfolio, with your studying. We go over it all together. I'll find your strengths and your weaknesses, and we'll work on getting you to the next level of your career together. Through projects, reading, meetings, feedback, stuff like that. With the mentorship, you get free access to my 3D sculpting workshop, and you can also get the 3D sculpting workshop on its own, which is a weekly workshop dedicated to the fundamentals of sculpting themselves. So we focus on I got optimization on the brain, observation, form hierarchy, creating clean shapes, proportion, anatomy, likeness, and things like that are really important to make you a stronger sculptor. We do one project per month from the beginning to end. So basically on the first week we start from a sphere and we block it out. Last week we render it and detail it and stuff like that. All of those are available through my Patreon. That here. So basically, my admissions begin on the 1st of July. Alright, so if you're interested in the workshop or the mentorship, feel free to join. Another thing that's available is, whenever we do that, we do challenges, we do parties and things like that too. Meanwhile, I added my ZBrush or my social media links to the chats. I got Twitch. I stream on Twitch ZBrush stuff every single Sunday, guys, in English at 5 p.m. Central. So make sure to follow me on Twitch and come watch tomorrow. And I have Twitter, Instagram, ArtStation, TikTok is where this model is going to end up. So make sure to follow there if you want to see how it turns out and like the whole story that goes along with it. And my Discord is a free online server where you can hang out with other 3D artists from all over the industry. Hundreds of them. We share tips and tricks, tutorials, resources. It's where we do challenges and games. You can get a hold of me really easily through there. You can show off your work, show off your social media, get followed, make friends, network. You can give and receive feedback. It's like a whole thing. You should join. the Discord. So the links for all of that stuff are in chat. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to follow the Pixologic channel as well. The Pixologic channel belongs to the people who make ZBrush, the software that I've been using this whole time, in case you weren't aware. And so many extremely talented artists and individuals come on here and they show off their own way to create new things with ZBrush. So make sure you do that, and you'll learn so much from everybody. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate it, everyone. I hope to see you again. All right. Have a great weekend, and I'm gonna go have lunch.